Cliffjumper needs professional help, and I am not that, but I am a professional napper, and he could get some well-deserved rest with Mantis Sleep and their awesome sleep masks, which offer a comfortable experience when winding down for bed. These masks have adjustable straps and are made from zero-pressure breathable material. My wife struggles with sleeping at night, and when she is tired, she uses this mask. She steals it from me. I mean, just imagine living a life like Cliffjumper's and how stressful that is. You really need to get some good sleep at the end of the day. Mantis Sleep makes the best sleep masks in the world, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be sponsored by them. Check out Mantis Sleep via the link in my description, and make sure to use my code DELTA10 for 10% off your order. I really had a fun time putting together last month's video titled Optimus Prime Needs Therapy. And as many of the comments pointed out, yes, everyone in this series needs therapy. But I really only want to cover one character at a time. And so, this month, we're going to be diving into the emotional trauma that everyone's favorite little Autobot has gone through. That's right, we're talking about Red Bumblebee. Cliffjumper? That's his name? Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. From the moment Cliffjumper shows up in Transformers Skybound, he was both the comedic relief and the heart of the Autobots team, which made it so much more heartbreaking that of everyone on the page, he was suffering the most. Daniel Warren Johnson took the time to have us all fall in love with Cliff, only to then rip our hearts out by revealing his dark past and his traumatic history. And so, just like last time, we're first going to chronicle all the horrible things that Cliff has gone through on the page, before taking some time to talk about how we could best comfort him in his times of need. As the title says, Cliffjumper needs a therapist, an actual licensed therapist, which I am not. But that doesn't mean if you know somebody who's going through some troubling times that you cannot be there for them. So, let's see what we can do. Starting in chronological order, Cliffjumper loses his entire clan to Starscream, as mentioned in issue number 4. As the series continues, we see the emotional toll that this has on him. While he keeps up a happy attitude and jovial nature, deep beneath this facade is a truly hurt bot. One who has lost everyone and everything dear to him. He's choosing to hold on to hope and his friends, as without them, there wouldn't be much left to live for. Cliffjumper bonds with Carly over the loss of her family, though, as survivors stick together. There's a sense of survivor's guilt between the two of them that they bond over. Carly asks Cliffjumper if the pain ever goes away, and rather than answering her directly with healing words, he can only sympathize with her plight. The truth is, there are no words that can fix the damage that has been done. When losing a loved one, the pain never goes away. We simply learn how to manage the despair. Issue 6 is where we see Cliff and Carly put to the ultimate test when facing their family's killer, Starscream. Carly is much younger and is fueled by rage, but Cliffjumper is tired of all the violence. After so many years of endless fighting, what would one more death accomplish? Revenge or justice be damned, Cliffjumper cannot pull the trigger to end Starscream simply because he is exhausted from all the fighting. It's not that his clan meant nothing to him, but it's that his thirst for violence against Starscream has overtaken his memories of his family. In this moment, he realizes this and finds himself unable to finish the job. What would it accomplish? In an endless war, when does the violence stop? Once you've killed your enemy, or once you've put down your weapon? Issue 8 is where we see the fallout of this decision. Carly does not understand this and is deeply hurt by Cliffjumper's actions. He's regretful over these actions, not because he thinks he was wrong per se, but because his newfound family has rejected him. He questions if he is weak, wondering if he has just thrown away his second chance at having a clan again. Cliffjumper is not given much time to recuperate from the events, however, as in issue number 9, his survivor's guilt is strengthened in the guttural moment when Ratchet, gives his life in order to save Cliff. As another member of his family dies in his arms, he watches as Optimus races away from the battle to regroup with Alita, being left at the mercy of the Decepticons. But mercy is not a word in Shockwave's vocabulary. Issue 10 shows us that even other Decepticons find Shockwave's torture of Cliffjumper to be dishonorable. Issue 12 continues the trend of Cliffjumper's tough life, as he is regularly used as a live shield by Soundwave, and then regularly thrown around by the surrounding story. He's knocked back by pretty much every explosion and has little dialogue as he's just trying to stay alive, something we originally didn't know was a success at the end of this issue. When we return to present day, we find Cliffjumper stranded on Cybertron along with Alita and her warband. Cliffjumper is at the end of his rope, as everything he once held dear has been taken away from him, and yet he finds himself at home with fellow Autobots. But it doesn't mean much anymore. Traveling with his fellow soldiers, he watches as the Autobot insignia is defaced and tossed aside, metaphorically, that is, when Bluestreak murders Dirge in the midst of a destroyed Cybertronian city. This is not what Cliffjumper wants anymore. The war has taken its toll on him and on what he once believed in. Issue number 16 is where we find Cliff at his lowest, as it is revealed that he had hidden the remaining sparks of his clan in the very city they died in. Amongst the remains of a bombed home, Cliffjumper cradles his clan's remaining sparks to his chest, with the hopes to finally bring something good out of this war. He plans to visit the Well of Sparks to create life, rather than continue the endless cycle of taking it. Additionally, he has not forgotten about Carly, as he tells Alita that he won't be returning to Earth for Optimus, but for her, the last remaining member of his family. Cliffjumper has really gone through quite a lot in this series. I thought for sure that he would be spared his usual tough life when Bumblebee was killed off in issue number 1. Obviously, Daniel Warren Johnson was twisting the narrative for us and letting Cliffjumper live to be the fun character with a carefree attitude. But no, he's alive only to suffer even more. As I've said many times before, Cliffjumper is suffering from the loss of family, something that we can all relate to. You may have not had family members of yours bombed in a war, but we all experience loss. When someone we love deeply passes on from this life, there is a deep chasm that expands in our hearts where they once existed. While they do live on in memory, that does not take away from the hurt that we feel. But when someone we love is taken from us too soon, there is usually no answer as to why. A life cut short, especially by another, is a pain that never truly fades away, as we see in this comic. Carly experiences this for the first time, and rage fuels her towards revenge. Cliffjumper, on the other hand, has allowed this rage to consume him for so long that he loses himself to it, and is exhausted by the pain. Cliffjumper needs a licensed therapist, as do many of the characters in this series. But what can we say to our family and friends when they experience loss in their life? Well, just as I said in my Optimus video, the greatest thing that we can do for one another sometimes is to simply be there for the brokenhearted. In the midst of death, memories are our greatest friend. Remembering our loved ones as they were and the experiences we had with them is what keeps them alive in our hearts. And ultimately, it's also what keeps us alive and moving towards a brighter future, just like Cliffjumper is doing at the end of issue 16. And just like I hope to see in issue 17, that Cliff will be able to use these sparks to bring a new life into this world, to bring something truly good and beautiful into this life. If you, the viewer, are going through something difficult right now, perhaps the loss of a family member, reach out to your friends. Reach out to those that you trust, They're there for you. They care for you. Again, they won't be able to say something that magically lifts that pain. Nobody can do that. But they can be there for you. They can be there with you during these trying times. I know in my own life, when I have lost people that I deeply cared for, it's hard. And it's never not hard. But the reason it's hard is because we truly loved those people in our lives. Sadness and despair over a lost loved one is just that. It's proof of love. And love is a powerful, extremely important emotion to allow into your life. So, if you are struggling, or if you know somebody who is struggling, be there for them. You can't fix the issue for them, and that's okay. But just be there for them. Just like you want someone to be there for Cliffjumper and for Carly.